The storm outside battered the rusting hull of the drop pod with relentless fury. Hail cracked against the reinforced plating like bullets, and lightning flashed in long, jagged bursts across the darkened skies of Vorthis Prime. I sat on the cold floor, back to the wall, legs outstretched, rifle laid beside me. My breath clouded in the freezing air, and despite the near-constant shivers racking my frame, I kept watch through the cracked viewport, hoping the beacon would still transmit through the storm. Beside me, slumped against the wall in silence, was the one I never expected to fight alongside. Captain Rilek Thane of the Draavari coalition. Enemy. Formerly. Now. Neither of us was sure. 2 days ago, our units tore each other apart in the bloodied mud of the Wither Fields. I watched her cut down 3 of my squad mates with precision and cold eyes. Then orbital strikes rained down on us both, human and Draavari, turning the entire valley into a cratered graveyard. I'd been thrown clear. So had she. And then we'd both come to, bruised, half-deaf, and very much alone in the same field of shattered bodies. It wasn't trust that made us walk together. It was survival. The only functional pod was mine, and her leg had been torn by shrapnel. I dragged her in and closed the hatch before the blizzard hit. Now we were stranded here, waiting for a recovery team that might never come, sharing the last of the rations and warmth. She hadn't spoken since yesterday. Not even a word. The only sound she made was the occasional pained breath when the pain in her leg surged. Her armor was dented, blackened, and too damaged to regulate her body temperature anymore. Still, she wore it like a second skin, even now. Until now. I reached into my pack and pulled out the emergency thermal blanket. It was thin, cheap, and barely enough to keep anyone alive, but it was something. I held it out to her, unsure what she'd do. To my surprise, she stared at it for a long moment. Her amber eyes locked on mine. No emotion, no expression. Just acknowledgement. Then she slowly reached up to the locking clasp at her collarbone and began disengaging the armor. Piece by piece, she shed it, her gauntlets, then her shoulder pads, then the chest plate and greaves. Underneath, her body was lean and pale gray, muscular in the way of someone born for battle, but worn thin from exhaustion. Her species was built differently than humans, but in this moment, all I saw was a person. Tired, cold, and maybe just as scared as me. She didn't ask. She didn't explain. She just laid down beside me, pulled the blanket over both of us, and closed her eyes. For a while, neither of us moved. Then, softly, she spoke. "You should have let me freeze." Her voice was low, rasped. Draavari accent thick. I hadn't heard it up close before. It didn't sound as alien as I'd expected. "I thought about it," I replied, staring at the ceiling. A breath. Barely a laugh. Almost bitter. "And yet you didn't. Didn't seem right. You are my enemy. Maybe. Not today." Silence again. But it wasn't heavy. It felt like a weight had shifted between us. Slightly. Minutes passed. I could feel her body trembling with cold beneath the blanket, same as mine. Her head rested near my shoulder. Not touching, but close enough that I could hear her slow breaths. She winced once, shifting slightly to ease the leg. "You need med gel," I muttered. "I've got some." "I already used mine," she said. "What little was left." I didn't ask permission. I turned, opened my kit, and took out the last vial. Kneeling beside her, I nodded toward her leg. "May I?" She hesitated, then nodded. As I pulled the bandage away, I saw the wound, deep and raw. The metal had torn straight through muscle. It was a miracle she hadn't bled out already. She didn't flinch when I touched it. just stared at me with those amber eyes, unreadable. I applied the gel slowly, carefully, and rewrapped the leg. Done. She didn't thank me. I didn't expect her to. Instead, she said, "My name is Rilek." I blinked. "Aaron." She nodded once, then laid back. For the first time, I saw something human in her face. Or maybe something Draavari that humans just never bothered to understand. Sorrow, maybe. Weariness. Maybe both. "Why are we at war?" she asked suddenly, as if the thought had haunted her long enough. "I don't know," I said. "I used to think it mattered. And now I just want to live. Maybe that's cowardly." "It's not." Another pause. Then she added, almost whispering, "I killed your friend." I didn't respond at first. The image of Carter falling, blood spraying, replayed in my mind. I clenched my jaw. The anger had been there, once. Red hot. Now, it just wasn't. "I know," I said. "You did what you had to. So did I." She looked at me, really looked, as if seeing something she hadn't expected. "We were taught you were monsters. So were we. And are you?" I exhaled. Right now, I'm a man lying next to someone who should be dead, under a blanket in the cold, hoping someone hears our signal. If that's a monster, then the galaxy's got a weird definition. She closed her eyes again. Maybe we're all monsters. Or maybe we were just tools in someone else's game. The night dragged on. The storm howled outside like it had a grudge. The pod creaked, groaned, threatened to come apart with every gust. But we stayed close, shared what little heat we had, neither willing to sleep but too tired to stay fully awake. At some point, I felt her hand brush mine under the blanket. Not holding. Not grabbing. Just there. Human and Draavari. Enemies yesterday. Survivors today. When dawn finally broke, it was pale and gray, filtering in through the frost-covered viewport. The storm had eased. The world was silent again. Rilek stirred beside me. Her eyes opened slowly. "They'll come soon," she whispered. "Maybe," I said. "Or maybe we walk. With this leg. I'll carry you." She stared. "Why?" "Because it's the right thing." She didn't argue. Didn't smile. But something shifted in her expression. A flicker of emotion I couldn't name. We sat up together. She began reassembling her armor, slower this time, as if it weighed more than before. I helped her. No words needed. When the emergency beacon beeped, just once, faint but clear, we both looked at it. I stood. "That's a response signal." She nodded. "Rescue. Maybe." I glanced at her. "Yours or mine?" She shrugged. "Does it matter?" It did. But I wasn't sure in which way. "Whatever happens," I said slowly, "if they try to take you, I'll stop them." She froze. "You would fight your own kind for me?" "I'd fight anyone who tries to drag us back into the killing." Rilek looked at me for a long time. Then, for the first time, she smiled. Just barely. "I never thought I'd say this," she murmured. "But I hope it's your people." And for the first time in years, I found myself hoping too.